Television commercials try to sell you a product or a service, despite the fact that most of the time the content of the commercials has nothing to do with what they're actually selling. Celebrities drink a soda and react as if it's the greatest thing they've ever experienced in their entire life. Ah, Pepsi, the choice of a new generation, they say with a huge fake smile. Samuel L. Jackson shouts, "What's in your wallet?" as if it's the punchline from a sitcom while he's simply promoting a credit card. Ads for insurance featuring a caveman and a gecko are passed off as if they're reoccurring characters from a comedy series, and the list goes on. But it's not just products or services that companies try to sell us through entertainment, it's ideas. Hollywood propaganda is carefully woven into movies and TV shows with the intent of influencing the audience rather than merely entertaining them. Sometimes the central plot serves as the propaganda, which is coated in a thin layer of entertainment, but the writers and producers know and often admit what their true intentions are. In the late 1980s, a man named Jay Winston, who worked as an associate dean at Harvard School of Public Health, launched a campaign to convince Hollywood producers to include messages about the dangers of drunk driving in TV shows, along with the importance of using designated drivers. It was called the Harvard Alcohol Project, and soon the term designated driver was being used in shows like Cheers, LA Law, The Cosby Show, and countless others, catapulting it into the public lexicon. Before the 1980s, there wasn't much of a social stigma against drunk driving, but with a persistent campaign by groups like the Harvard Alcohol Project and MAD, Mothers Against Drunk Driving, the country as a whole began thinking differently about the issue. More recently, special interest groups used their power to promote abortion, the gay agenda, Obamacare, climate change hysteria, and literally every one of their social justice crusades in the same way. But in these cases, instead of raising awareness for a public good like stigmatizing drunk driving, they're using their influence to push fringe political ideas into the mainstream and convince the masses to accept the most flagrant violations of morality and decency. All things that I detail in my new book, Hollywood Propaganda, How TV, Movies, and Music Shape Our Culture, which you should order from Amazon.com or download the ebook from any of the major ebook stores. And I know you're going to find it quite different than the content I usually post here on my YouTube channel, but I also know that you're going to find it very enlightening. Today, there are over 100 organizations dedicated to using entertainment to further political and social causes, and there's even an Orwellian term for the propaganda they create: social impact entertainment. In 2014, UCLA opened the Skoll Center for Social Impact Entertainment, SIE, which boasts to be the first of its kind, dedicated solely to advancing the power of entertainment and performing arts to inspire social change. Proper Daily is another social impact agency which was founded by Greg Proper and Mark Daly, who are close associates of Hillary Clinton. Before helping start the agency, Greg Proper actually worked for the Clinton Foundation, and when Hillary was running for president in 2016, Proper Daly helped organize fundraisers for her. Previously, they had organized meetings with writers from TV shows like Parks and Recreation, How I Met Your Mother, and Glee to sit down with Chelsea Clinton to discuss how they could help promote the Clinton Foundation's initiatives. GLAAD, the Gay and Lesbian Alliance Against Defamation, has been aggressively lobbying Hollywood for years to include gay and transgender characters in television series and films. One of their current aims is to pressure studios to include gay characters in 20% of films next year and 50% of all films by 2024. It's really an open secret in Hollywood, but few people outside the industry are familiar with the intense and very successful lobbying efforts the organization engages in. Entertainment Weekly recently admitted that GLAAD has changed Hollywood's LGBTQ narrative one script at a time. I cover this in detail in the LGBT agenda chapter of my book, Hollywood Propaganda, because it's one of the left's most aggressive efforts, and in the last few years they've successfully caused an influx of LGBT characters on major television shows and even convinced Disney and Sesame Street to get on board with their plans. The United Nations has even launched a campaign called the Unstereotype Alliance, which has been backed by consumer product giants Procter & Gamble and Unilever, along with the big tech companies like Google, Facebook, and others, to promote social justice through advertising campaigns for unrelated products. It used to be that commercials promoted the benefits of their products and did their best to avoid getting political because Republicans and Democrats both drink beer, eat hamburgers, and buy cars, and companies didn't want to ostracize half of their potential customers by supporting any polarizing causes. But since the liberal pathogen has caused a zombie-like apocalypse in America recently, many large corporations have decided to take up the banner of social justice, and when lobbyists from the Unstereotype campaign make demands, companies often oblige. This goes far beyond companies trying to be environmentally friendly, introducing recyclable packaging, or highlighting how they're using renewable energy to power their factories. Nobody could really disagree with those practices. I'm talking about companies that actually now insult half of their potential customers in hopes of gaining the unwavering support of a smaller segment of society because of their woke campaigns. They don't even really see it as insulting people. They're just so arrogant that they feel that they need to educate people about social justice causes, or think that they need to virtue signal about how much they care by jumping on the bandwagon. When President Obama was trying to get Obamacare passed into law, his administration was aided by a chorus of enthusiastic celebrities who used their voice to support the bill, but behind the scenes, strings were being pulled to encourage them to speak up, and Hollywood studios were actually being lobbied to include pro-Obamacare messages in the plots of popular TV shows. One such lobbyist group, called Hollywood Health and Society, works with studios to promote health-based initiatives, and were paid $500,000 to convince them to incorporate the need for Obamacare into storylines of network TV shows. Another PR firm called Ogilvy Public Relations Worldwide was paid almost $1 million to pitch Obamacare plots to major networks. They even tried to get major networks to shoot a reality show about the trials and tribulations of families living without medical coverage. President Obama brought a bunch of actors and producers to the White House to ask them for their help in promoting Obamacare, and soon they started happily doing so. Jennifer Hudson starred in a Funny or Die skit designed to promote Obamacare, where she played a Washington, D.C. fixer or scandal manager in a parody of ABC's series Scandal. The funny part, if you can call it that, was that everyone who tried to hire her to fix their problems, like a college student without any health insurance and a guy who was changing insurance companies but was worried that they were going to drop him because of pre-existing conditions, learned that there was no problem at all because of Obamacare. It was a pathetic attempt at humor, and to do such a lame skit under the Funny or Die banner made it even more sad, but they wanted to do their part to help the cause. Under the Obama administration, all of Hollywood was more than willing to support anything the White House wanted, but once Donald Trump took over the Oval Office, of course, everything changed. Planned Parenthood is America's largest abortion factory, and most people have no idea that they also have a special arts and entertainment engagement department that reaches out to television studios and feeds them plot points they would like included in shows. Few people outside the industry know such a department exists, and most would probably have a hard time believing it, but it does. I cover their activities in detail in my new book, but for now you should at least know that such an apparatus exists and has been working behind the scenes for years. If you enjoyed my serious presentation here, you'll love my new book, Hollywood Propaganda: How TV, Movies, and Music Shape Our Culture. Get it in paperback from Amazon.com or download the ebook from Kindle, Google Play, iBooks, or Nook. And even though this video is taken directly from the information in the book, I did have to leave some stuff out because it may not be appropriate for YouTube, and I'm not sure if I want certain sound bites of me saying certain things floating around out there where they could be taken out of context and twisted around. So I hope you get the book, and I know you're going to find it quite entertaining. And of course, there's a link to the Amazon listing in the description below, so click it and head on over there and check it out.